The cabin lights dimmed to a calm, artificial dusk as the private jet leveled out above the clouds. Conversations softened, glasses clinked gently, and the hum of the engines wrapped the passengers in a sense of untouchable security. In one of the wide leather seats sat Victor Halle, CEO of a global technology empire, reviewing figures on a tablet with the confidence of a man used to controlling outcomes. Deals waited for him on the other side of the flight acquisitions. Announcements, the next chapter of a life built on precision. 2 rows behind him, unnoticed as most working people often are, sat Adam Cole, a single father on his first flight in years, hands folded tightly in his lap, eyes drifting off into the small backpack under the seat in front of him. Inside it was his daughter's drawing, folded and refolded until the edges softened, proof that this trip mattered far more than the reason printed on his ticket. The moment came without warning. Victor's hand froze above the screen, his expression tightening as if the air itself had turned against him. He tried to inhale. Then again, his breath coming sharp and shallow. The tablet slipped from his fingers and clattered to the floor. A murmur spread through the cabin before panic could fully form. Victor attempted to stand, but his knees gave way, and he collapsed heavily into the aisle, eyes unfocused, skin drained of color. A flight attendant rushed forward, calling for medical assistance, her voice steady but edged with urgency. No one answered at first. People looked at one another, fear thickening the air, uncertainty anchoring them to their seats. Adam was already moving. He didn't rush. He didn't shout. He knelt beside Victor, checking his pulse with practiced calm. Years earlier, before life narrowed into bills, late shifts, and solo parenthood, Adam had trained as an emergency medical responder. He hadn't worn the uniform in a long time, but his hands remembered what to do. "He's hypoxic," Adam said quietly, "possibly a clot or severe cardiac event. We need oxygen now," and his legs elevated. The flight attendant blinked, surprised by the certainty in his voice, then reacted. Oxygen masks appeared. Adam guided the process, speaking steadily to Victor even though he wasn't sure the man could hear him. He loosened the tight collar, kept him conscious with simple questions, monitored the uneven rhythm beneath his fingers. Passengers watched in silence, the authority in Adam's movements reshaping their fear into fragile hope. Minutes stretched. Victor gasped, then steadied, color returning in slow, cautious waves. The captain announced a potential emergency landing, but Adam shook his head slightly after reassessing. "He's stabilizing," he said. "If we divert now, turbulence could make this worse. Keep him still." By the time the plane touched down, paramedics were waiting. Victor was alive, shaken, but alive. As he was wheeled out, his gaze locked briefly onto Adam's. No words passed between them, but something heavy and unspoken lingered in that look. Adam returned to his seat, heart still racing. He thought that would be the end of it, a moment of crisis, then back to his ordinary life. He was wrong. 2 weeks later, Adam sat in a small, worn office across from a hospital administrator, hands clasped just as tightly as they had been on the plane. The air smelled faintly of disinfectant and paperwork. His daughter Lily waited outside with a volunteer, coloring carefully within lines she usually ignored. Adam's phone buzzed, and when he answered, the voice on the other end was unmistakable. Victor Halle remembered him. Victor had suffered a rare cardiovascular complication that, according to his doctors, would have been fatal without immediate intervention. He had asked questions about the man who helped him, about where he'd learned those skills, about why someone so capable was flying economy with worry etched into every movement. When Victor learned about Lily, about the mounting medical bills for a condition Adam couldn't afford to treat properly, something shifted. Adam didn't ask for help. He never did. But Victor offered it anyway, funding for Lily's treatment, access to specialists who could change her future, support that arrived without contracts or publicity. When Adam tried to refuse, Victor stopped him with a simple truth. "You saved my life," he said. "This is how I live with that." Lily's surgery was successful. The future that had once looked small and uncertain began to open in ways Adam had barely allowed himself to imagine. Mornings became lighter. Hope, once rationed carefully, started to feel less dangerous. Months later, Victor and Adam met again, this time by choice rather than circumstance. There was no dramatic speech, no announcement. Just two fathers sitting quietly, aware that a single moment at 30,000 feet had rewritten paths that had seemed fixed. Adam returned home that night, watching Lily sleep, her chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm he would never again take for granted. Somewhere between clouds and ground, between collapse and compassion, two lives had intersected briefly, and in that brief intersection, a future had been saved. Please like, share and subscribe. Lover ASCII. We share stories the world need to feel again.